Jonathan, thank you so much for being here. I want to take a second to just introduce you. You are part of a team of 9 realtors. You've been in the business for 5 years. Your team did 32 million and served 74 families in 2023. In 2024, you guys roughly did 40 million and served 90 families. You are fluent in Spanish and obviously English, as we will conduct this podcast in English. And you are an expert on the north side of Chicago real estate. Thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you for having me, Sam. I appreciate the invitation.
Of course. So, north side of Chicago is a very broad market. Which neighborhoods do you tend to focus on more?
Primarily like Uptown, Edgewater, Andersonville, Rogers Park. So anywhere in the north side, Lincoln Square. So that area over there, primarily. But as you know, us realtors, we're everywhere, right?
Yeah. So it
Now,
seems like it's
mhm.
a kind of lake forward part of the north side, like those neighborhoods that. And what kind of population are you seeing living in those neighborhoods?
Everything actually. You see young families, who are, starting to have kids, to older adults, you see everything. So that's what I like about those neighborhoods. They're very diverse, and it's you have so many things around the areas. You're close to the lake. There's a lot of shopping centers, and there's endless amount of restaurants.
It's true. I live in Uptown, and the reason my wife and I will never move out of Uptown is because of the restaurants. Uh, what is the market like? Is it still a seller's market, or is it starting to shift now? We're recording this in October 2025. Who has the upper hand?
Yeah, so you're starting to see a little bit of a shift in the market. Listings are starting to sit a little bit longer than usual. You're not seeing as many multiple offers as you did the previous years, right? So, for example, I'm gonna get a little bit into statistics. So, as of last year, you see, not only is the Chicago market just like a broad market where you can talk about the whole market as a whole, because it is more hyper local, like you mentioned. Like every neighborhood is different. For example, right now I'm going to give you some statistics from last month. As of last month, Edgewater and Uptown are neighboring neighborhoods, right? So as of last month, there were 116 new listings in Uptown, and there were 89 new listings in Edgewater. Now, how many days on the market were they sitting for? Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. It's just my computer's acting. I mean, so now with that being said, now the market time is in Edgewater, they were sitting for 37 days, and in Uptown, they were sitting for 31 days. So you're starting to see them sit a little bit longer than usual compared to, like I said, in the previous years. You were seeing them gone within the same day or 2 days max, right? So you're starting to see a little bit of a shift in the market in that regard.
Now, when you say the inventory is sitting a bit longer, is that across the board for all property types, or are you still seeing like maybe condos take longer, but single family sell really quick? How is that different across property types?
Yes, so it does make a difference depending on the property. You In regards to single family houses, you are seeing them go a little bit quicker than condos, just because condos you also have all these regulations and everything. So that's something that you have to take into consideration as well.
And would you say now is it a buyer's market because they're sitting on for 30 days plus, or is it still like a seller's market and sellers will still get good price for
Good question. So
it?
yes, now it's starting to shift a little bit towards the buyer's market, right? Now you're not starting to see as strong offers as you did. Some sellers, they're still listing high, but they're not getting nearly as much as they should, because the market is starting to slow down a little bit and it's not asking for that high of a number that they're seeking.
Okay. This is something I sometimes this struggle to understand, and I know a lot of my clients have. When we say that the seller's not getting as much of the price as they want, we're not saying the values are dropping. We're just saying they're not appreciating as fast, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so there's still appreciation in the market. What do you think is the range in those neighborhoods in terms of appreciation?
That is a great question. I would have to get back to you on that answer because I do not know that on top of my head.
Okay. I think in Chicago, generally 4% is the appreciation. So it's interesting. I would like to know what it is in our neighborhood in the north side, and across the property types. What are the main things that drive people to the north side, you think? You mentioned the restaurants and the different things that go on here, but what do you think really drives the growth?
I think just not even the north side, but anywhere east, just the people being attracted to the lake and just having so many things available for you on that side, right? You can run along the lake, you can ride your bike. There's just so many things to do out there. So it's not even just the north side, but it's further to the east side.
Mm, interesting. So you think east is really what drives more people, and the north is just kind of the function of it's where most neighborhoods are in the city.
Yes, I would say so. Yes.
Okay, interesting. And what what is your what if you had to predict what happens to our neighborhoods and Chicago real estate in the next 5 years, what would your prediction be?
We're still going to see appreciation. It's still a competitive market. Not nearly as much as it was before, but compared to other markets in the United States, we're still holding a pretty strong market right now as it is.
Are we When you say holding a strong market, what do you mean? Like prices staying steady?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. They're not going to drop significantly just because there's still limited inventory out there.
Yeah. It's Chicago is one thing I've also been both pleasantly surprised with and kind of concerned with is we have a lot of land. Even though we're blocked off by the lake on one side, we have a lot of land. So there's always room to build up, but there isn't as much desire to build, it seems like, in Chicago as a whole. So the inventory stays pretty stabilized. Do you notice that more in certain neighborhoods?
Yes, I have seen it. There are some projects that have been on standstill too. They broke ground and you just seen it just sit there for a while. I have seen that.
Like, let's shift a little bit to your service. You and I actually have worked together. You've helped a lot of my best friends buy and sell their homes. What experience do you want your clients to have?
That's a great question. So, you know, we have to keep in mind us, we do this every single day, right? So it may not be a new process to us, but in regards to our clients, it may be their first time or buying or selling. So we really have to take the time to educate them about the process, right? So what really happens in the transaction? This is from step one to the final step. We're gonna take care of you, and I want the process to be as seamless as possible and stress free. The last thing I want is for my client to be stressing up about like what's going to happen next. I'm there to take care of that. And I just want them to have that peace of mind so they can enjoy the transaction.
And how do you go about providing that experience and how uniform do you find it to be?
So, communication is key in this industry. If you're not on top of things and communicating things clearly to your clients, they're going to get lost. So communication is key and staying on top of things. So some clients, they might need a little bit extra help, getting documents ready and everything. So that's where we step in and just try and guide them a little bit more than what any other person would. So that's why I like to take the time and really care for my clients, because not every client is the same.
It's so true. Even the people that you and I have worked with, completely different needs, different desires. So let's take a buyer or seller. What can a buyer or seller, and you pick one, what can they expect from the moment they get in touch with you until maybe they close and beyond?
So in regards to a buyer, right? Let's take a first-time home buyer, for example. They don't know anything about the process. So what I like to do with them is just, get them set up just an appointment so we can go through the buyer consultation. What's included in that buyer consultation? I walk them through the whole process, like I had mentioned, and then after that, we set up a search for them. Now, with that search, we talk about their different needs and wants in a place, right? After that, we go out looking for places, and then we once we're under contract, I like to keep them on top of things of what's going on, and then now they're aware of the whole process because we talked about it during the consultation. After we close, I like to stay on top of them. Just ask them how things are going in their place, if they have any renovations or any updates. So I like to stay in touch with them in that regard. Don't just think that I'm gonna avoid them and be like, oh, that's it. You're never gonna hear from your realtor again. No, I like to consider my clients close friends as well because I joke around with them all the time. I'm like, hey, I spend more time with you guys than I do with my actual family because like we're always going and touring places. But I enjoy this.
Is there certain things that you encourage your clients to reach out to for specifically? Like, let's say after they close.
So, I mean, we always have connections, right? So if let's say they need any an electrician or plumber, whatever, I'm still there to help them out. We have our own group of people that we work with, which by the way, they are great. If you guys need anyone, let me know. But no, yeah. So we stay on top of them. Like I'm not gonna forget about them. If they need anything, I'm still there for them in that regard.
So it's a lot of whatever they may need in terms of building their network of people to serve them and their housing needs. It might be even outside of it, but really that. So electricians, plumbers, to a big degree, loan officers, insurance people. You encourage your clients to reach out to you so you can connect them with these people that you have vetted.
Correct. Yes.
And how do you go about vetting your partners to make sure that they give the experience that you want your clients to have?
So what I do, I like to really understand my clients and their needs. And then what I like to do, I like to connect them with the right people because I feel like someone that's very analytical is not going to connect with someone that's, not so analytical or, might not really worry about numbers as much as another person. So that's
Mhm.
where I really try and take my time and connect my clients with the right people.
So
I'm more
really,
on character.
gotcha. So I love that. It's so you're not just looking for competence, but you're looking for having multiple people in a position so your client will fit well with that personality.
Correct.
Gotcha. And how do you is there have you ever had an experience where your client wasn't satisfied with the process? May it be with you or with a partner you recommend. How do you make sure, like, how do you fix problems when they arise like that?
Oof, man. In this industry, you're gonna come across a lot of problems. Let me tell you that. But no, the one thing is obviously to stay cool. Everything has a solution at the end of the day, right? Now, if they're not happy with the partner that I recommend, then it's okay. We will get through it. I can recommend another partner. And if they're not happy with my service, then that's a whole different conversation. But no, and it does happen, right? Sometimes I may not connect with a client, and that's okay. Things happen for a reason, and we just move on from it, right? But what I like to do is provide the best service to every single client that I can. And then same thing with my partners. If they don't connect, then I still have other partners that you might connect with. But I just don't force them to stay with one single partner or working with myself as well, because no one deserves that.
I love what you said, the trying to give the best service you can to your clients. How would the client that receives that best service, how would they describe it?
Oof, man, that's a great question. All these great questions, Sam. uh, so, I mean, I would tell them to just, write it on Zillow. No, um, no, the best I guess the best way they can just describe it is just, being thankful at the end of the transaction. You can really tell when the clients are really thankful because you're here solving problems for them. It's not, I don't expect anything in return in regards to like, oh, gifts or anything like that. That's not the type of person I am. I get joy from just seeing them get to the closing table and closing. That's where I did my job. So that's really where I see it the most. I don't I'm not that type of person that asks them like, oh, I need gifts or no, that's not me. I don't know. I think that's just the way that I see it the most.
And I love the mention you that said it's a grateful feeling for them because they have relied on you in this big transaction. And I'll tie it back to what you said earlier. We do this every day, but our clients go through it maybe twice or three times in their life, and it is very scary. So they're grateful that they get to navigate that with someone they trust and it helps them at the end of the day.
Exactly. And I mean, that's all they can pretty much ask for, like we're there for them, guiding them through the whole process. Because, like you said, it's not a simple process, and they might only do it twice or three times in their lifetime.
Yeah. Let's talk about pick one, buyers or sellers. Before I ask you the question, pick one.
Uh, I'll do buyers since we're
Buyers.
still in the conversation. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. What can buyers do to prepare? So if someone's watching and they're like, I want to buy in the north side of Chicago, like Uptown, Edgewater, Andersonville, what would you tell them to start getting prepared?
Get pre-approved.
Okay.
That's the number one thing you have to do, because the last thing we want to do as realtors, we don't want to do you a disservice in showing you places where you might not be able to afford, and that just breaks my heart. One, because I'm getting your hopes up just showing you places where you might not be able to afford. So yes, that's why step number one, get pre-approved. After that, reach out to me, and then we can just get a buyer consultation going where we can just talk about the whole process. But yes, step number one, every realtor is gonna tell you to do this, and not just me. Get pre-approved. And if they're showing you houses without getting pre-approved, then you have a problem.
It's like going to the gym without eating, without stretching, without warming up, and picking the heaviest weights you can. You're only setting yourself up for a disaster. Uh, but how about for the person? Actually, I'm gonna reframe the question. Who do you recommend should buy a house? Or better yet, who should not buy a house?
Oh, who should buy a house? That's anyone should buy a house. I always tell people it's a great investment. I don't really see why one would rent. Obviously, everyone has their own needs and their own problems, right? So if you might think that renting is a better the better route for you, then by all means, right? But by purchasing, if you're ready to purchase something, by all means go for it. You're gonna gain appreciation, and obviously you're not just gonna be paying someone else's mortgage. You're paying off your own mortgage, right? So you're also gaining equity, and that's why I say, like, if you're ready to purchase, just do it. Don't hold back. Don't wait for the rates to drop. I always tell my clients, marry the house and date the rate, because you can always refinance later down the road.
Hmm.
So that's usually what I tell clients. If you're ready to purchase, go for it. Who shouldn't purchase? People with debt, obviously, right? A lot of debt. Obviously, your debt to income ratio does matter, but if you have other things that you have to worry about, then that's gonna affect your loan as well. So I would just, talk to someone, a financial advisor, be like, all right, what should I do first, and then go based off that. But
I,
obviously, I would tell everyone to purchase.
I love the way you phrased it. I think home buying is one of the greatest wealth builders in America. I don't think, like, in fact, almost every millionaire, not every millionaire in America, owns their home. That being said, that can really derail the ownership experience and adds a lot of risk to it. I've seen, because with owning, the mortgage is the minimum a homeowner pays, whereas renting is essentially the maximum someone will pay. So even if the mortgage seems cheaper than the rent, if there's a lot of debt, there's a lot of risk being added on. So I'm glad you said, hey, if you have a lot of debt, like tons of student loans, tons of cards, a lot of credit cards, have that financial conversation first to prepare for home ownership instead of just buying a home. And that's, like you said, get pre-approved, talk to a financial advisor. I found that to be really impactful and set clients up for success.
Exactly, 100%.
How can clients get in touch with you? If someone wants to buy a home in north side of Chicago or anywhere in Chicago, just because they really like you, how can they get in touch with you?
So, my phone number, you guys can always call or text me. It's 847-769-1455. Or you guys can find me on Instagram or Facebook. Instagram is Jon_Aburto, and Facebook is just Jon Aburto.
And what's one thing that you wish more buyers knew when they started talking to you?
Uh, I'm a friendly person, you know. I may look a little bit intimidating sometimes, might have a, you know, little like mean face, but no, I'm just like in my head thinking about my clients and how I can best serve them. But no, I'm approachable. I'm the friendliest person you guys can ever come across.
I confirm. I confirm. And can you share your contact information again? I will put it in the show notes as well, just so for people listening.
Yes, on social media, Jon_Aburto. That's Aburto. And then my cell phone number is 847-769-1455.
There you go. There you have it. The local friendly realtor. Thank you so much, Jon.
No, thank you for having me, Sam. I appreciate you.